Hello, everyone. Back again with part two of our ships. This is myself and my wife, and we are having a journey. And your journey's with us, journey with the Jacksons. So let's continue with our ships, family ships. So,
I
not
didn't get that. Could you try again?
many people talk to us about our families and how they intermixed or how they had discussions about anything that we did. But there were occasions where families wanted to kind of know what's going on, and we didn't really tell them, not because we didn't really want to, but because, at the bottom line, it's none of their business. We still try to stay as private as possible. And excuse us if you see us flying around because we're outside enjoying nature and nature is enjoying us at the same moment. So
For real, they fighting us too.
so we might see us go like this. I know I ain't trying to hit anybody or anything like that. It's just that we got some unwanted guests. Okay, I know they're not family. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so this particular family ship discussion is about boundaries. And I could hear some people like, oh yeah, boundaries. And it's not just boundaries with family, boundaries with people in general. It can be or, may or may not be with family members, but boundaries. So, what are boundaries? Okay, and how do we set them with people? So, what are boundaries? This basically it, right?
It stops here.
It stops here. These are your limitations. All right. We talk about, if you want to put it into real term, real life process. We have boundaries in our countries, our states, our communities, neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? It tells you that this area stops here and this area begins here. So if you put that in terms of family,
Right.
where before we got married, this is where your questioning stops, and this is where our answers stop for your questions. Now that we're married, this is further where you are going to stop questioning us, and our answers are going to stop right here. So we set those areas where we are not going to, I guess, cross over to have discussions about certain things, right? So limitations, what you should or shouldn't discuss with families and or friends. You know what I'm saying? It could be as irrelevant as some people as job opportunities, where you want to go for school,
Getting a new car, buying a home.
Yep. The things that the Lord told you about.
If you're having problems, in your relationship, your marriage, it's just certain things that you shouldn't share.
Yeah.
Because it can get better, it can get worse, or it just ends.
Exactly. And then not everyone is always as forthcoming of their thoughts about your decision, and not everyone is excited and supportive about the decisions you make. Sometimes some of the decisions are not always in your best interest, and sometimes these decisions are exactly what you need to move forward. So let's kind of dive into that a little bit more. So one of the main examples that needs to be set even before you get married is boundaries with your family. And the reason being is you and your spouse tend to have different ideas about things, but the family has even more ideals about what
should not be, how you should do this, when you should do this,
Yeah, what role the man plays, what role the woman plays, and we always hear about it. Even nowadays, you hear about if you can cook and if you can't cook. My family in particular are very, very, very clear on cooking. it is almost a requirement for every man in the family to know how to cook for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's not even about if you have a woman or a wife or a girlfriend that can cook for you or not. It's the fact that you're not going to rely on anyone to feed you. So you won't be going out there constantly spending money buying food because you can't cook anything. And so that was a big thing that was instilled into me as a young child, and I was learning how to do things as far back as I can remember. 5 years old.
Elementary, yeah.
Yeah, 5 years old. There are times I remember getting up on the counter and kind of looking at what my mom is doing, teaching me the safety of turning on and off the stove, because back then we didn't even have electric stove. You had gas stoves, so that was even more dangerous, and you had to be even more cautious. But yeah, so it's like, and if you use a toaster oven, like, you know, instilling you have to watch your food. Don't just go off and watch TV and then come back 20 minutes later and now everything's burnt. You know what I'm saying? You have to know about, if you're cooking, you're keeping an eye on your food, you're watching the clock, you're making sure that you're smelling if something's not good, you're going back and checking, flipping it over, having to turn out burn. Like, all that stuff started being instilled in me at a young age. Okay, so it wasn't about going to no fast food restaurant, going to a restaurant. Your parents, you know, your parents cooked, your dad cooked, your mom cooked, your uncle knew how to cook. You know, you know.
And eating out was like a reward
Yes.
on a Friday or something, you know, where your parents, my mom didn't cook on Fridays. So Fridays would be eat out time.
Right.
You know, so yeah, this is a very unisex lifestyle that we have, because there's no female job or male job. This is both. Like, this is equal opportunity in this marriage. So we're working as a team, not burning each other out by having, oh, well, you're supposed to do this or I'm supposed to do that. This is both of us working together as a team to get things done.
Yes, very much so. And especially when someone's ill, and you know, they talk about the chicken soup remedy, but chicken soup nowadays is mostly in the can and has a lot of salt, and
Yeah, we don't do the can.
we don't
do nothing in the can.
No.
Like,
You know, and we're not gonna get into no, you know, things about the meats and stuff. That's, you know, a whole different scientific discussion. But when Tanisha and Mom were sick with COVID, I went ahead and cooked a whole
homemade soup.
pot of homemade soup. Put the vegetables
And
in
it was
there,
good, too.
boiled. Yes, and
It was good.
and that's the thing, because we're not like, you know, the chefs. This cooking is not our passion, so we're
Right.
you know stuff like
We don't
that.
like to cook. We cook because we have to cook.
Right.
And a lot of times we run out of stuff, you know, to cook. We don't even know what to cook.
Right.
So we be spaghettiing it down. And then my son is picky. I mean, he very selective. So it's kind of hard, you know,
Right.
for us to be like, okay, we're going to make this. But then he's like, I don't want that or whatever.
Right. So yeah, so we're working on that. But yeah, cook chicken soup, homemade chicken soup. You know, before my grandmother passed away, I would come on every weekend, and I would come and make something for my mama and my grandmother. So I would either do like ribs, I would do baked chicken, or I would do rice and some type of minced meat. There's like a thing I like to cook, is which I was actually taught at a young age, Jamaican seasoned rice. So that's something that I love to cook. Or I do curried rice and some type of meat. So what's the last thing that the Rasta pasta? I tried my hand at that. That was actually
don't
pretty
forget
good.
your oxtails, because everybody be
Oh yeah,
screaming for the oxtails.
Yep, yeah.
You
A
ain't
plug,
cooked,
but
you ain't cooked them in.
I ain't cooked them in a while. But Yeah, the oxtails. I have my specific way of cooking oxtails, and I don't share that with anyone. But that was taught to me at a young age. My grandma taught me how to do Chinese fried rice. So that's another thing that I can do. So, but anyways, this is just something that we talk about. This is how much cooking was instilled. And again, I'm not a chef. I cook when I need to. You know what I'm saying? But it's not my passion. I'm not trying to open up a restaurant.
Neither of us like to cook.
Right.
But we cook because we have to cook.
Exactly. An experiment. We homemade pizza. We've done that before.
Because of my son.
Right.
Not because,
And I've done an eggplant pizza, and that was actually pretty interesting. So that's so that's one thing. Cooking is one thing. What's another thing that parents usually talk about? Finances. Finances. Yeah.
Learning to be a good steward over your finances. Us growing up, we didn't really learn about investments and saving properly, putting away money. We weren't taught that. We were taught to work and pay bills.
Right.
So survival. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
We were taught to survive.
Yeah.
Not so much of making investments and saving. I mean, they spoke about saving, but you didn't really make enough to really save because you always end up having to go into it
and pay bills.
And pay right.
Something.
So you get caught up with bills, but then you're behind too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a
And they ain't really we didn't really know about the different things to put the money in, like the
Right.
CDs. At
Right.
that time, CDs were really, really popular. It was just like you work, you take your money, you put it in the bank. That's it.
Right.
And it was like the bank wasn't giving you anything, but they sure was taking.
Right.
But yeah, that was really how my mom taught me. And my uncle, he was really good on saving as well, and he explained about saving, but he was also big on education and going to school to making sure that you have a certain understanding of how to do things.
Well, yeah, when you come from another country and you come to America, education is always big. Not so much, I mean, I'm not going to say, in America it's not important, but you have a different type of respect for education when you're coming from another country.
Yeah.
Because that's basically, you feel that's all you have versus you being here in America and there's like other options. It's not always pushed for education.
Right. That's true. That's true.
So you just have a different respect for education.
Yeah, that's true. Another example is when we're talking about having boundaries with friends. And I know once I got married, let me say this. I have very respectful friends and very respectful relatives. And that's because either they are married or were married. I don't have a lot of them that are single, but at the same token, because when we grew up, we had a certain level of understanding that we talked about. And one thing Tanisha and I was discussing, like I had a very distinct difference between a girlfriend, a friend that's a girl, and a wife. And this is something that I started learning about and then watching other people and seeing sometimes they cross over. So whatever I did with a friend, my friend did not get the same type of benefit as a girlfriend, but a girlfriend did not get the benefits as a wife. And then what happens sometimes is that it's crossed over, it's intermingled, and those boundaries, and you can't tell. Some people treat everything kind of the same, and it gets confusing.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't do friends with benefits, and I would never suggest that because that becomes a very muddled area.
It's a lot of misunderstanding. I mean, and women tend to think, more emotionally, right? So you go on a date with someone, you can't automatically think that you guys are together.
Right, right.
And sometimes that happens because you think that we've been going on dates like we together.
Right.
I think letting them know, like, listen, we on a date.
Mm-hmm.
I do date other people. So it'll be, up to you if you want to make me your girlfriend.
Right.
But that has to be expressed. That has to be communicated.
Yes.
Because if somebody's serious about you, they'll take that
Yeah.
initiative to,
And that'll get even more involved into the understanding of dating and things leading into marriage. But that's true. That is definitely true. Like, you know, what's a good example? Like, the way I was raised is that you didn't have sex before marriage. So you're not having sex with the girlfriend, you have sex with your wife.
Right.
And and there's quite a bit of spiritual connotations in that. And you talk about soul ties, which I think we brought up in one of the
definitely.
other meetings.
A lot of us, like me, I didn't wait until I was married, to be sexually active.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have, but when you're young, you think that, oh, I'm in love and this is who I'm going to be with for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
In your mind, that's what you're thinking.
Right.
Because that's what you want.
Right.
But unfortunately, no, that was not the case.
Oh, yeah.
So, unfortunately, some people did not wait.
Mm-hmm.
And now I understand why our parents, would tell us, oh, wait, it'll be best. I understand why now.
Right. Even if they didn't, but they understood why.
But they encouraged you to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And they understood why. Because my mom started talking to me about relationship stuff since I was 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I had in my mind, as a 7-year-old, I had it in my mind that I did not want to not be married.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very clear that I wanted to be married because my mom wasn't, but I wanted to. But she was not a person that slept around. That was a good thing too. And when we were growing up and we moved from place to place, my mom, as far as I know, didn't have any relationship when she came to the United States because she had to spend the time working and making sure that I had food on the table and providing and things of that nature. So I don't even remember my mom going on dates or anything, to be honest with you. I'm not saying she didn't, but I don't remember.
Because
I spent so
sometimes
much
they
time
don't let
with
us
my
know
mom.
these things.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and because it was a date, she didn't let you, know about it because it's just a date.
It's just a date.
You're not coming to my house to see my son because I don't play that.
Right.
And I established that too with my son. Mm-hmm. No, ain't nobody, if I'm going to date, he not going to know who, nothing, none of that.
Right.
Until it's going to be a serious one.
Serious one.
So, and that's how it went.
Yep.
So
you don't sleep with your friends.
That's a boundary.
That's right.
We're speaking about boundaries.
Okay,
that is
so
definitely
no boundaries
a
or benefits. Now, if you're sleeping with your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, that's your business. But again, for me, it was you don't sleep with anyone except the person that you're married with.
Mm-hmm.
And then then you have a thing like if you have friends and you help them out financially, then the understanding is this: you pay them back. Then when you have a girlfriend or boyfriend and you help them out financially, now it's a gift. So now they're like, no, I was your boyfriend, or no, I was your girlfriend. So now you're like, I don't need to pay you back. You did this out of the love and kindness of your heart and all this other stuff.
And I learned that too. When you this boyfriend and girlfriend stuff, there has to be boundaries there too.
Yeah.
There's boundaries in every relationship, including marriage.
Right.
So you can't treat someone or expect someone to do things that a husband should do, or you should be doing for yourself.
Right.
I mean, why is that expected? You're expecting something that you can't even do for me or yourself.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So.
And again, the expectation should not be there until after marriage.
Yeah.
Again, it's my opinion, as well as that discussion has been given and understanding is met. Okay? Because when you start treating a girlfriend like a wife, now you start having issues. That's why we got all these court shows talking about, you need to pay me back for this, you need to pay me back for this, but y'all was in a relationship. It doesn't matter if y'all was in a relationship for 20 years. If you not marrying that person, then, and you're comfortable being in a relationship for 20 years, just understand there's certain obligations that cannot be met because of that.
Right.
So that's something that needs to be clear in people's mind. I watched a lot of different court shows to understand that having a girlfriend and not having boundaries, or a woman having a boyfriend and not having boundaries, and this is a romantic relationship, it'll cause a huge set of problems later.
Yeah, definitely.
I would not personally be living with a girlfriend.
Right.
Okay, I will not be buying a house or a car with my girlfriend.
Co-signing nothing for no friends, no family, no
Okay.
nobody,
Okay.
because it's just not a good idea. Yeah, we both have good hearts. You know, we don't mind helping people,
Right.
but it's a difference from helping, supporting, and using.
Yeah.
And I don't think people, you know, really respect that. The three.
Right. Right.
You know, I'll support you, but I'm not enabling you. It's two different things. So please don't get upset, because the no is strong over here.
Okay. Okay. And then, you know, and then that's where it can be muddled as well, you know. And there are times that you lose friends because they don't respect that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And yeah, because a lot of times, you know, you may have people in general, friends, family, whatever, and say, hey, Lim, Tanisha, or whatever, you think I could borrow $200 until such and such and such?
Right.
And people get upset because, oh, well, let me find out from my husband, or let me find out from my wife. We have to do that, because what I do will affect him, and what he will do can affect me.
Right.
So yeah, we do have to check in to see if it's okay, if it's not going to affect our home.
Right.
So yes, it should be that way. And people are, you know, they do get upset about that, because they say, oh, why you got to be asking? Because this is our home here.
Right.
And it's not just me anymore.
Right.
and people don't get that.
You know, and you're taking away money from your family, you're taking the money from your children. You know, it's like people
And
don't
then all of a
understand.
sudden, when it's time to give it back to you,
You shouldn't have that issue.
hello,
Right.
you know, and it's, okay, I'm going to give you your money back.
Now they got an
Oh.
attitude issue.
So to avoid that,
Right.
no.
And then that,
I won't be able to do that.
or you give without the expectation of getting it back.
Correct. And
See,
usually,
then that would be considered a gift.
yes. I'm going to help you out this time, you know, because we could do it.
Right. But husband and wife will still have that discussion.
Exactly,
I don't
because
have-
no matter what's going on, we gonna discuss anything,
Yeah.
because what I said, what I do can affect you, and what you do can affect me.
Yep. Yep.
That's just it.
And the other thing is, again, not trying to get too much into our maritalship conversation later, but you don't be in a marriage with boyfriend girlfriend tendencies. Okay, so the Bible talks about marriage is honorable, and the married bed is undefiled.
Yep.
Okay, so if I have a girlfriend, or the girlfriend has a boy, or the young lady has a boyfriend, there's no obligation to tell you what he or she is doing with their finances, because you don't have that honor
Right.
to know.
Right.
Okay, and that's why I say it's not a good idea to buy a house with someone
Don't
that
do none of that.
is a girlfriend. If you're not even set as a fiance and there's a marital date, that person is not prepared to make that commitment. That's a boyfriend, is a girlfriend. I ain't had to tell no one, except when Tanisha and I got together and then we ended up getting married, what I'm doing with my money, even how much money I have in my bank account.
But I never asked you,
Nope.
because I was too busy trying to build my own bank.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand, you know, I just can't, I
Right.
don't know, I can't, that's
I ain't
not how I
never
was
told
raised.
nobody.
First off, my mom wasn't waiting on nobody.
Exactly.
And I had to really kind of like realize, okay, wait, I have a man. Like, I ain't got to be like, oh, you look, you know, it's been consistent with everything, because I don't really have to tell you if I need something. You know what I need. I don't have to come to you and be like, oh, babe, you know, I need that. You don't wait for me to do that.
Right. I always offer.
Exactly, which I like. that's a blessing, because child, we both be sitting there like, oh, You got it?
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna do it this time.
Right.
You know, and I don't mind that because it feels better for me to do it that way than I always gotta be like, yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. Now, and when you build, it's just so interesting. It's like you really have to understand so that you can understand the different levels that you have to grow as a person
Yeah.
and then as a couple.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, again, you help people out, but it's either you expect it back or you don't expect it back.
Right.
And you don't need to hound them, because if you need to hound them, then you should have pretty much known that you wasn't gonna get it back.
Right.
This is your friend, so you already know how your friend is.
Right. You know how your friend is. You know how your family member is.
Exactly. They're not strangers to you.
No.
You know, so that's an expectation. What else? Cause we definitely, I don't know, cause I think about that, cause I have so many friends that cross that line with treating their boyfriend, girlfriend like they're married and then got messed up. I'm not saying I'm innocent to that, cause I've crossed that line
Yeah, we
too.
done been there. We
You know
done
what I'm
been
saying?
there.
And,
Feeling sorry for people.
Yep.
You know, and helping them, and your bank just
Right.
and they.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It's like nothing is good. It's all good because I'm giving you and giving you and giving you. In a minute, I'd be like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Now it's a problem. They got that manipulative behavior going on, narcissistic. Oh yeah.
Yep.
So
And you can't get nan help.
yeah.
Help. You know. What happened?
Oh, that lizard running. Just don't run over here. But so
Right.
yeah, he ran out the tree. You know, I already done had a bad experience.
Right. Right.
So, but yes, it definitely is refreshing to be in a healthy relationship and marriage.
Still looking at it?
No, I'm just making sure because he was getting something to eat.
Oh, okay.
But it's a blessing to be in a healthy relationship, marriage,
Right.
because we've been in unhealthy relationships, and we knew that we had no business being in them, but because we wanted something so bad, we were trying to like force it. Like, I know, it'll take a turn. It'll
Yeah.
take a turn, and it never took that turn that we were looking for.
And it's a good thing it didn't, because then you'll be with the wrong person, and then now you'll be in another situation.
Right.
And that's the thing.
Right.
And you know, so we've talked about the boundaries. Now the next thing is, let me go back to that. Says, do you have boundaries within the marriage? Okay. So, or should you have boundaries within the marriage? And as people, you have boundaries anyway. You know what I'm saying? You have less boundaries with your spouse, and that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. You have boundaries with your friend. You have significant boundaries with your friend. You kind of drop off a little bit of those boundaries when you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but you still gotta have those,
Right.
like we discussed. When you have a spouse, then quite a bit of those boundaries are gone. Okay. And for, you know, simple things as example as like, what's something that you did recently?
Well,
What did something you used of mine?
y'all drops.
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah, just got them.
I just got them.
You went to the doctor.
Yeah.
You hadn't opened them yet.
I hadn't opened them yet. She was like, now mind you, she has her own drops.
But
Okay.
I ain't have mine with me, and I wanted to try those.
Yeah, but I was like, I said, okay, babe, at least let me get the
In
first
other words,
use.
I ain't even much opened them yet.
Right.
You already asked me to use them, but that's okay. He went ahead and used them.
Yeah,
First,
first,
then
so
you
I can at
got
least say I got a
here.
chance to use them first, because it was my eye drops, right?
Whatever.
So, you know, so it's like that mind frame of like what's yours and what's hers, that's kind of get nullified, because
Child.
it'd be like, what's ours or what's yours is hers, because she still use your stuff.
Yeah.
She'll use your stuff. But one thing I saw that was cute that you did, like I ate some spaghetti that she made. I love when she makes spaghetti, and I used a particular plate and a fork. when I put the fork, I didn't even know if I put it in the sink, but I put the fork and the plate down in the kitchen. So when I went back in the room after she finished ate,
I had you.
you had the same plate and the same fork. I said, wait a minute. So, and I'm like, we have two of the same plates. But I went in the kitchen, I said, oh, this is the exact same plate and the exact same fork that I just got finished using. So I was like, okay, that's that's cute. She didn't
I
get.
washed the plate and fork and I used it.
So she didn't get a new plate and a new fork. She washed them and used the exact same ones. What's another thing? It was something else that you did.
What?
It was something else. It was like, because you don't really use we don't use the same colognes or perfumes and stuff like that. Oh, my slides. Sometimes I'm like, I'll just come in the room, I wear the slides, I turn back around, I'm like, where my slides at? I just put them right here. You see these little feet walking away with my slides. I was like, and her slides are in the kitchen, so I'm in the
By the door.
and I can't wear her slides because her slides are too small for my feet. So I was like, I can't have nothing around here. I said, it's like, if it's not my food, it's the slides. It'll be something. But it's like, it's just being.
Well, you too, because when I be eating meat, you be like, you didn't even much eat all the meat off there. And I be like, okay, African, eat all the meat off. You clean them. I leave something on there. You be like, babe, you didn't even eat that meat. Okay, what else I'm gonna eat off here?
Korean
So
people
you know
how
what
to
I'm
eat
saying?
their food.
Hey.
We know how to
we
eat
all
our
African
food.
descent, but dang, I mean, what I gotta do? Make it a fossil? you clean up things to the like, dang.
Yeah, man, to the boy, we don't joke with food, man. We don't joke. You know, so yeah, so you know, we have those type of moments, but when it comes to like, if I'm bothered or upset with something, if it's something she did, then she'll know that our routine, I wouldn't even say it's a routine, she just has an understanding.
Right.
Leave
we
him
agree
alone.
to disagree and stuff
Right.
like that. I mean, it's not, we don't agree with everything.
No.
But
And
we
you
agree to
shouldn't.
disagree. And we be like, okay, well, that's,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But we don't dictate how each other should feel. Because
Right.
if a certain thing make you feel a certain way, I can't say that you shouldn't feel that way.
Right.
And I
Vice
respect
versa,
how you
yeah.
feel. So it's vice versa. So I can see when you may be annoyed with work, with a family or something.
Right.
And I'd be like, okay, well, you know, I'm gonna let him have his, you know, moment.
Mhm.
You'll go watch TV to digress, and I don't mess with you.
Nope.
Same thing with me. You know, I'm always hello around here. Can y'all clean up? Can y'all? What's going on here? Why you left this here?
And I just look at her
And I know
shake
you be
my
like,
head. I was like, this chick.
babe,
I was like, oh my
sit
God.
down. And I'd be like, y'all not gonna clean up?
I said, we'll get to it. I'll get to it.
Relax.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, okay.
It's not going anywhere.
No, and I go about my business.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
then later on that night, I find myself with the pine saw. Okay.
But that's because she
I'm OCD.
Right.
Period. Like,
when it comes
everything.
to cleaning, which is, I mean, it's not a bad thing until it becomes an overwhelming thing, but it's never been an overwhelming thing, because like, I'm not OCD with cleaning, but I'll clean, especially if I know that she's done it already or she's tired or something like that. I'll definitely go and
Right.
sweep, vacuum, wipe stuff down. It's not, you know, beneath me to do that.
Right.
I'll clean the tub. I have a particular way of doing things when I'm cleaning, and
Yeah.
I like to take my time and make sure this is right and this is right, and give time for it to settle. I do this whole ritual thing when cleaning, but I make sure I get it done, and we share into the cleaning. Like, I'm so used to doing my own laundry, so when she actually said, babe, I'll do it for you, I kind of looked at her like, what? Because I learned how to do my own laundry. I learned how to sort my clothes, separate the colors from the whites and the lights and all this stuff. And so I've been doing it for so long, it's strange when someone else does it for you or even offers to do it, you know. We'll fold clothes together because we do that often, you know. She doesn't always have to fold her clothes because just folding clothes for her and our son, so it becomes a lot of clothes. So, you know, I like to help her out with that. Or if I know she's doing something and the dryer stopped, I'll go and take the clothes out the dryer. And I started having to learn what clothes she dries in the dryer and which clothes she hangs up to dry. So that's also important. So it's communication. You know, I'm not just gonna assume, oh man, it's our clothes, just throw everything in the dryer.
We learn each other, and that's the whole, you know, relationship thing.
Right.
When you first get with someone, okay, you're dating, then it goes into maybe courtship. From courtship, you get married.
Right.
So it's just steps to having a healthy relationship. And I think a lot of people don't take out time to really get to know who they're with or who they're planning to be with. You know, like, so that's important. You with somebody and you don't even know what they like, what they don't like, you know.
True.
So that's a big problem.
And then the other thing with boundaries in marriage, you definitely need to know both your personalities. You need to know if you are an introvert or you are an extrovert. Now, we're not extreme introverts, but we're both introverts. So just because we're like that, we naturally just separate and spend time apart. She'll come in and check, like, hey babe, everything good? I'm like, yeah, I'm just here chilling, relaxing. She's like, okay, and then she goes back to the room or wherever she was, and then I'll come in and check on her and say, hey, I'll do the same thing.
Right.
Because even though we like to enjoy each other's time, we also know that we need time apart.
Right. I think we're kind of selective extrovert with people that we are comfortable with and we know.
Right.
We can be a little extrovert because we have fun and we open up more.
Right.
But we are extreme extrovert people because we be weirded out by any little thing. We'll park at a parking spot way away.
Right.
And when somebody come park next to us, we be like, hey, so we'll move the car. So we be kind of like in sync with each other with certain things. You know, people standing too close to us, you know, we be like,
why you standing so close?
Why you gotta be so close to us like this?
Right.
I always respect people's space. And I just feel like, I don't know if it's with this generation or what, but they be doing some weird stuff.
Right.
Standing all close to you, you park, like, why you parked over here?
Right.
So, you know.
I always find that strange. You pass about 12 parking spaces to park right
to park
next
where
to
I'm
you.
at. Like,
Right.
I specifically picked this spot
Right.
away from everything, and here you come. Like, what is this? So I don't know, sometimes I think we probably overthink things sometimes, but we always just aware of everything.
Right.
And
Exactly.
people, just like now we sitting here, baby, I'm watching everything and everyone. You hear me? Yes. You see what I'm saying? We doing the video. We can't even do the video. People want to talk to us. So, yeah, I'm watching. Even though I'm talking and we doing our video about boundaries, but yes, we watching.
Yes.
Because we out in the public and people are out and about.
Right. So we're very aware of what's going on around us. You know. So that's a definite thing. So so you should you take this time because we're talking about boundaries. Can you share a little bit of the discussion that you had?
About what?
You and your cousin?
Oh, well, we mostly talk about parents and boundaries.
Okay, we could go back to that.
Okay,
Go
so
back to,
we talk about, parents and boundaries. So parents have this thing where they feel obligated, right? Whether they're married or widowed or single, most of the time it's the mothers that have issues with setting those boundaries, whether it be with the son or daughter. And especially if they're single or widowed, they have this thing where they feel that you're obligated to do and fulfill their need no matter what.
Right.
And it becomes a kind of a selfish act because they're only thinking about their need, and not once asking, if you're able, or how are you today, or what it becomes a big issue because it's an obligation that they
Right.
have. So we talk about that a lot, and it could be very stressful. That's why boundaries are important to set. And it's kind of hard because it becomes kind of manipulative sometimes, because the parent may say, oh, well, I'm your mother. And it's like, okay,
Right.
that gets you every time. It's like, mom, it's not that I don't want to support you, but I'm enabling you every time I do it.
Right.
So at some point, yes, you have to let your parent know, no, I'm not going to be able to do that.
True.
And then they'll bring up, oh, well, I did this, when you were growing up as a child. Well, that was your job, because children can't take care of themselves. So you are the parent, and that is your job. So I think that's a big issue with throwing that in a kid's face, saying, oh, I did this, I did that. Well, that was your job as a parent. That was your role, and it's not that children don't want to see about their parents, but there is boundaries that have to be in place.
Yeah.
At all times, dad, mom, and yeah, it definitely is heavy in the Black community with those things. We become surrogate wives and husbands to our parents.
Right.
And that is not the way that it's supposed to be. And they be quick to throw the Bible verses, honor thy mother, thy father, but you got to keep reading, because it doesn't just say that part.
Right.
You got to keep reading. Don't make children feel guilty about not doing something for you. This is the life that you chose, and you have to make the best of it.
Right.
So now that I'm living my life, what am I supposed to do? Stop living my life
Right.
and tend to you? No, that is not. Because if you go to the Bible about being married, you supposed to what?
It says that you
no
leave
longer
or
cleave.
separate from your mother and your father, you separate from your parents, and you cling or cleave or connect on
Correct.
your wife, and because you two become one flesh. You know what I'm saying? So the person that you're supposed to connect to is your spouse.
Right.
That's why
And
I was
that
talking
doesn't
about.
mean, oh, you cutting her off and it's about me. We shouldn't be in competition with each other.
Right.
That should not be happening at all.
Right. But
So
the understanding and expectation is, as a couple that's of marriage, is
right.
you're supposed to replicate what it is God has in heaven with the married family on earth. And a lot of people have a tendency to have a problem with this, but the family nucleus is the husband and the wife. Everyone else is an extension of the nucleus.
Correct.
Okay, so when you're living your life for your children, or you're living your life for your mother or for your father or for everyone else, and you're neglecting your wife, you are not committed and you're not focused on the nucleus that God intended.
Right.
Your marriage, because you are the epitome of the life and of the marriage of what it is in heaven, regarding how the Father, the Son, and His Holy Spirit are connected. And through that unity, the husband and the wife is connected. And with that nucleus, then everyone around you is supposed to see that and know who is above you. So the Heavenly Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit is above the husband. The husband is above the wife. The husband and the wife is above the children.
Right.
Okay, so that's how that, and if you follow that line, you're gonna keep things in perspective.
And two, before me and you got together, it was just me and my son.
Right.
Right. And I was okay with that. If that's what the Lord had for me, fine. But I had to also realize too that he's gonna grow up and he's gonna have his own life. So I can't say, oh, it's gonna be me and him forever, and then I kind of like burden him with my burdens, and he can't live his life how he needs to live it. He has a purpose. A lot of us parents, women, most definitely have oh, my kids are my life, they my life. Yeah, okay, that's great, but your kids are gonna have their own life eventually, and you can't like hold them back because you don't have a life.
Right.
So once your kids are gone, where is your what is your life? What are you doing? What are you planning on doing? Because I love my son to death. I die for my son, but he is not my life.
Right.
Cause he's getting older and he gonna go on about his business.
Right.
I'm gonna have to call him. Hey, you all right? Like, so you got to think about those things. You can't just say, oh, my child is my life and that's that. No.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna go off and live their life, and you have no right to stop them from that. That's selfish.
Right.
So yes, those boundaries are very important to be in place with your children, with your parents, with your friends, and within the marriage.
Yep. And you know, the word says, or your marriage vow says, until death do you part. And you know, we know that there's no marriage or giving into marriage when you enter into heaven. When you're down here, you and your wife, husband and wife, you guys are committed to one another. And I know there's things that pop up, the enemy fights and things of that nature, but you have to have a very clear understanding about forgiving your spouse and moving forward, not constantly beating them down and bringing up the issues that happen. And that's why the communication is so important. And we're not just talking about talking, we're talking about establishing a feeling, understanding of how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and figure out a way to correct it. And counseling is important, and it's not just counseling with the pastor.
An actual therapist. There's nothing wrong with that. Our community lacks big time. You know, we even, you know, some of our own selves, we were dealing with things when we were kids. We didn't really understand what it was. Right. And our parents didn't have, you know, the mindset to say, oh, well, let me get a therapist for them. Right. In our community, they looked at it as, ain't nobody finna get no therapist. Ain't nothing wrong with them. They not crazy. And that's we're trying to get rid of that stigma, you know, about, you know, having to be crazy or labeled as crazy because you're going to see a therapist. That's not true. Right. That's not true.
It's very important. You have mental health, you have physical health, you have your spiritual health. Yeah. And God always talks about to be in good health, to be prosperous and in good health, or be prosperous and in health, even as your soul prospers. And your soul can't prosper when your mind is all over the place. Oh yeah. Okay, if the Lord focuses and has us focus on one thing at a time, and some people say certain things, but it's like, I don't like multitasking. I multitask as need basis, but I like to focus and give 100% of myself to one thing, complete that one thing, and move on to the next. Correct. The more you broaden yourself out and stretch yourself out, focusing on different tasks, the less of you give to those different tasks. And that's just even a business concept. Right. If you have multiple projects, how do you do well on multiple projects simultaneously? You can't. One project is going to have more focus than the other. And if the project is due in 2 weeks and this project is due in 4 weeks, you're not trying to do both projects at the same time. Concentrate the one that's due now and then move on to the one that's due later. Right.
And I mean, I had to work on that because I'm somebody who like to get stuff done. I want it done. Like, that's one of the stubborn things about me. I want it done. I don't want to hear about nothing. I want it done. That's it. And I have a tendency of doing this, trying to do this, and trying to do that, and I kind of overwhelm myself. Yep. Let me check your hair how like that. So, so yeah, I do, because you know, when you have a kid, it's like, oh Lord, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta make sure this done, I gotta make sure this done, and it'll get done. But for me, I want it done.
Yeah, but that's when you're used to doing everything yourself.
Correct.
again, like I said with the example with the laundry, I'm used to doing it myself, but and the thing is, it becomes a work because after you finish working and you come home, now you got to do laundry.
Right.
You
And
know
I
what
think
I'm
I
saying?
think
But
we
there's
very
no one sharing the load with you.
we're very considerate of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people feel like, you know, the man should work
Mm-hmm.
and do it all. I don't agree with that
Mm-hmm.
because you're gonna be burnt out. You're not gonna be any good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Or we have small kids, you're not gonna be any good to them. You're gonna be like, look, I don't feel like it.
Right.
And how can you enjoy a marriage like that? Same thing with me. If I'm a wife and I'm doing this, you got me cooking and cleaning and I saw something on Instagram the other day where it was a surgeon
Mm-hmm.
and her husband expected her to cook
Right.
and she had worked a lot of hours.
Mhm.
He still expected a meal. Okay,
Yeah, he could've
which
made
you
the meal
know,
himself.
hey, to each his own if that works in their marriage, but I wouldn't have, you know, expected him
Mhm.
or her to have a meal
Right.
after working all those hours. No way. You know, I either pick up something or whatever the case, but I'm not gonna be in the kitchen. Don't
Right.
expect me to be cooking no meal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I mean, hey, like I said, if it works in their marriage, that's their thing.
Mhm.
But we're just speaking on our behalf and how we do things.
Right.
We're not telling anybody what they doing is wrong, but this is how we do things. This is how we prefer, and it works for us.
Right.
So, but yes, boundaries,
Mhm.
boundaries. I have them with everybody, everyone.
Mhm.
Because if not, you will be burned out by people.
Yeah. Or you'll start feeling guilty
Correct.
every time you can't help someone
Mhm.
that says they need
And I
help.
stopped feeling that way because I used to be
Mhm.
like, dang, you know, I really, but it ain't the help they want.
Right.
They using you because they know the heart that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So once you learn that, it's certain things. The Lord, hey, don't do that
Mm-hmm.
because I'm doing something with them.
Right.
Back up from that.
Right.
I'm gonna handle this because they're gonna have to learn some stability in life. You got to be a better steward of your finances. You got to be a better steward over relationships. You got to, because a lot of people have burnt their bridges with people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just something that you and God got to work through.
Out. True.
And it ain't my job to keep enabling you. That's not my job because I've done everything that I
Mm-hmm.
should have done for
Right.
you, and now it's done.
Yup. And that's how it is. So yes, you have boundaries with family. You have boundaries with friends. You should have boundaries with yourself. You should have boundaries in your marriage.
Yeah.
All those boundaries that you have, make sure you keep it very clear,
Yep.
very distinct, and don't try to start. How is it? Feeling sorry or guilty for keeping your no a solid no.
Oh, it's
Okay, keeping
Yeah.
a strong no because, and we hear that from Pastor Jamila all the time. You know, you got
a hard, crispy no.
no.
With spray starch on it.
Right, Pastor Jamila and Apostle Fred, they serious on their word, and we love listening to them because they keep it real.
Yeah, they keep it real.
Keep
and
it
I
real.
mean, it's a genuine, you know, a
Mhm.
lot of people can't take, you know, criticism,
Yeah,
constructive criticism.
Yeah,
Okay? And when you don't live in your truth, oh, it's even more harder.
right.
But, you know, you live in your truth. We all have a past, you know, some not as bad as others, but hey, it's judge-free over here because people knew you who you were. They don't know who you're becoming
Right.
or have become. So, hey, reintroduce yourself sometime to people because you got to tell them, hey, you thinking I'm that person.
But
I'm not them no more, baby.
Right.
Let's bring it, because, no, I'm not that person.
Right, exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
Don't
Yeah.
call me what you used to call me
Right.
or any of that stuff. No.
Shit. So yeah, so that's it for the family ship.
Boundaries.
Boundaries. So
Boundaries.
part three is going to be our discussion on marriage ship. And
We covered that.
Not entirely. We're gonna get a little bit more deep, especially when it comes to the understanding of dating, courtship,
okay,
and
yes,
marriage.
yes.
We touched on it a little bit,
A
but
little,
we didn't
just a-
want to
yeah,
get
yeah.
into it that deep. But we hope you enjoyed part 2 of our discussion. Please like, share,
Subscribe.
subscribe, comment. You know, and once we start getting more and more, we'll start eventually go live and have you all be there with us, and then I guess we'll figure out exactly what to call this. Not just a journey with the Jacksons, because you are on a journey with us, but we wanted to add some other element to it, so because we enjoying this, we keep it moving.
Yeah, I mean, I keep it as open as possible and you know, genuine.
Yes.
We out here fanning flies. This you getting exactly what you getting right now.
Right.
So, you know, we out here at the park, and just, you know, we came out here. My son is with my mom, so she giving me a little free time.
Right.
So yeah,
here
we
we
came
are.
out here just to be able to do another video, enjoy a little outdoors,
Non-scripted.
non-scripted.
You know, we either come up with the questions, or we've had questions posed to us that we really never answered, and then so now we're answering them. But yeah, so definitely subscribe, like, share, and so we can keep this thing moving. All right, again, this is Journey with the Jacksons. We talked about family ships, and our focus of topic was on boundaries. All right, take care everyone. God bless.